Hello, welcome to Intuition with Marnie Lynn. How are you today? I'm doing pretty good. Today I thought I would talk a little bit about what it is like to live with DID. Now, in order for DID to be created, one must be afflicted with horrible abuse that is so bad that the mind can no longer experience what it is experiencing at that moment, that it is so intense and so horrific that the mind will split and create a new person so that the one that is experiencing the horrific abuse is gone and doesn't have to deal with it anymore, and a new person has been, or alter has been created to come in and deal with the abuse. Once they have, the programmers, handlers have created this new alter, then this alter can be programmed to do what they want this alter to do. That is scary right there. So it depends on how many alters that they want to create, that they will put I'm assuming the original person into horrific abuse and then split another alter, and they keep doing that. I'm not sure on the steps of how they create it, but I do know from my own feelings that I have a very hard time having a bath, being in a bathtub, because I believe a lot of my abuse was around the bathtub in various settings. I don't have memories of that, but I do have memories of some of the higher ups from Project Paperclip being in this place where, as a small child, I met them, and it was a really horrible experience because the energy off of these two men was disgusting. Let me tell you, as a 3 or 4-year-old, my skin was crawling. Ugh. But a lot of the abuse must be done before the age of 6 years old, because that is about the time that the brain, the stem of the brain can be fractured. I'm not using the right words that they use in medical procedures. I'm just telling you what, from my own experience and memories, what I am remembering. And it is through that it breaks the brainstem, I guess, fractures it, whatever, it affects that, and it has to be all done before 6 years old. Now, when I was in kindergarten, I knew that there was something wrong, and when I went to school one day, and when I was in the washroom, I realized I was still wearing my pajama panties, and I knew there was something wrong, because that was not something that I would do. I would get out of my pajamas and into my clothes. So I knew that by wearing my pajama panties, I was telling myself, or my alters were telling me, that something was up, and there was more than just me inside of my head. And I am starting to think, and I feel it's very true, that I am a very powerful older soul, and when you incarnate, you have archon implants already in your body. So when you are born, they already know who you are and where you're going to show up in the world. So when it was 10 years ago that I came across a group of people on the internet that were removing Archon implants. So for $100 US, I paid for my implants to be removed, and they gave me a date and a time that they would be coming in through remote healing, and they would do the procedure. And I did wake up at 4 a.m. and I did see them come. The woman who performed the removal, I could see her opening up my etheric body, spreading it apart and taking the implants out. And then she put it all back together. So I was awake when she did that. And since they have been removed, I feel way, way better. I don't have the feeling of somebody having to look over my shoulder anymore. Well, at least not as much as I used to, but I feel much better having had them removed. And I had, I think it was a woman working on becoming a Reiki master, and she did about 10 healings on me, and I kept track and recorded what I felt during and after each healing that she did. And I remember feeling and seeing with my third eye like a snake coming out of my head, and I could feel that coming out of my third eye and clearing that. So that must have been my pineal gland that was cleared out. I've had some removed from my throat chakra, all sorts of different places, and it's amazing how much better you feel once you have these things cleared out and you start detoxing. Also, when they create DID in a person, they have a big file on the person. They have, if you take a cube and there's 13 here, 13 here, and then 13 down the side. So 13 times 13 times 13 is what it comes out to, the amount of altars that they can create using this great big huge cube. And I figure that myself, I've had several hundred. They're not full altars. Some are just a little bit here and there, but there are enough that are full enough formed personalities that it is difficult for me to remain as me talking to you, because I'm not always in the front. Now, there are altars that are called front altars, and they are the ones that come to the front more often than the ones behind. This is just how it works. And there can be several front altars. And as I have said before, not everyone in the system knows that there are other people. There's only a few that are aware that there are many others. And I don't even know how many there are. I have not met or seen all of them, but I am aware that in my building, as I call it, most of the apartments are filled, but I don't know how many apartments there are in my building. I just heard the number 500. So if there's 500 rooms or apartments, I don't know how many are, like I said, used in my system. Now, having DID is very difficult in that when we are out and about interacting with people, I'm not aware that I may have split and somebody else comes out, because it's like a big revolving glass door, and somebody will just pop out and there they are, and all of a sudden you look around and you have to figure out where you are, what day it is, who you're talking to, what you're wearing, everything you've got to figure out like that. And then you have to, it's really confusing to even try to explain to you what it's like, because I can be gone and I don't know I'm gone. And somebody else can be out, and the only way I know that I have been gone is by looking at the clock to figure out what time it is now and what time was it the last time I looked at the clock. So for me, I have clocks in various parts of almost every room in my apartment has a clock, so that I can keep on track with being present, like I am with you right now making this video. Now, I've had some altars that have integrated, and I had one named Michael, and Michael was 6'5", great big huge Arnold Schwarzenegger type bodybuilder, and his energy was huge. And when he integrated inside, you can imagine putting that size of a body into me. And it took him about 4 days to a week to fully integrate. I did not go out. I made sure I had lots of food and didn't have to go anywhere, because I was literally bouncing off the walls in my apartment, because the energy from him melding in with my energy was very overwhelming. Believe me, I didn't know if I was sick, if what was going on, but I just went with it. And Michael has no problem. Even now, he will come to the fore of me in my body now instead of being big. And he doesn't back down from anybody. So there are times when I will get up there and really stand my ground and not back down. It's very interesting. And it's very confusing, because some altars have strengths and some have weaknesses, and the weaknesses of some altars will come out, and that'll be what's in the foreground for all of us to deal with the insecurities of some of these altars, and to work through each insecurity and the altars and calming them down and figuring out what they need to do in order to feel better and to calm everyone down. Takes time and practice, and having to remove my ego. That is a hard thing to do sometimes, but it is what it is for me. That's really all I have to say about how it is created, why I don't really understand, but I do know that I'm always aware and wary when the phone rings, especially way before the cell phone, because you pick up that phone before there was answering machines and you hear a sound or you heard a voice and you were triggered. So they did and do create a lot of Manchurian candidates. So I'm not sure if I have been set up for that. I don't think so. But I know I have been set up for the secret space program, and I know I have done 20 years and back, and I have memories of that. The reason why I know I have been gone is when I look at my life and I see different times when I'm so depressed I can't function, and it takes about 3 months of this debilitating headspace that now, looking back on it, I have just come back from 20 years. And the first time they took me, I had just turned 18 years old. The second time, I believe I was 32 years old, and the last time I believe I was about 35, 40 years old. I've got them all written down. I haven't got it in front of me right now, but 3 times. And I do have some memories of space battles, different places I've been, and so 127 years old. I can feel it. My teeth feel it. Everything feels it. So that's what I'm dealing with. That's what I'm bringing to the table, is my ability to help people work through their stuff, to give you inspiration to carry on with what you're going through, and to understand if you have DID, you're not alone. You're not the only one out there who has this. It's very common. Unfortunately, it's very common. And it is something that the deep state do like to do, is create all these types of people. Horrific abuse you have to go through. It's absolutely unimaginable. So let's, on a much lighter note, I'm going to get out my tulip cards. I've been thinking about them lately, and I think it's time to do them. Let's see if this is, no, that's the wrong one. Here they are. They're just little tiny ones. And I wanted to show you what the first cards looked like that I made of the tulip. Now, all of the cards that I made were originally handmade like this. And to make one deck of cards, it would have been thicker than this, because I believe that there's only, this is only like 40 cards. So I tried all different paintings that I have done to see which ones I liked for cards. And as you can see, they're really quite interesting. Bit of a difference. So I had the tulip. This is the tulip. And that's the tulip now. What the energy is like for everyone that's watching this video today, and it's April 16, 2022. Cut it in 3. Little tiny cards. They're so cute. And here's the card. The card says, a thunderstorm is the universe letting you know you are off track and need to get back on. What do you say, grasshopper? Not so scary when you look at it like this, grandmother. Thank you for spending some time with me. I always feel good about myself when I have spent some time with you. And please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you know every time I put up a new video, and I put up a new video every day. So I'll say bye for now. Have a great day. I'm going to go and edit this and put this up, and I'll see you tomorrow.